Who the are you to be telling me that? You get it. I'm just here doing this show. Let's dig in. Look at that loser over there. Looks like he goes to Steve Buscemi's dentist. All right, ready? Count me in.
3, 2, 1.
Hello, I'm JP Sears. I'm the best culinary artist you're ever gonna find. Welcome to my cooking show. I'm also a narcissist, according to a clinical diagnosis made by a female doctor. But because it wasn't a real doctor, it's probably not a real diagnosis. On today's show, I'll be attempting the impossible of making a meal for a completely food intolerant person that tastes great and doesn't catapult him into severe gastric distress. Loser Martin sports a pretentious portfolio of gluten intolerance, dairy intolerance, and allergies to eggs, corn, soy, barley, and a severe peanut allergy. That's a big one. It could kill him. Now, before we get started, it should be noted that all people with food intolerances have them because they're genetically defective and just want attention. They're like modern day lepers, disgusting, broken, and unlovable with special needs. But unlike actual lepers who are isolated on an island, food intolerant lepers infect society with their contagious, self-righteous demands that can ruin your day just because they want to feel good and not be sick. So let's get started on our meal that'll cater to all their special needs, keep them in good health, and keep them from annoying you with their bitchy little whining. Today we'll be making a food intolerant friendly spiralized zucchini noodle lasagna with an appetizer of fresh spring rolls with a garbanzo bean substitute peanut dipping sauce. We better get started before Loser Martin decides he has a zucchini intolerance too. For spring rolls, you'll want to add lettuce, shredded carrot, and bean sprouts to your rice paper and roll. This makes for a delightful, crispy, crunchy appetizer. And because neither crispy or crunchy are actual flavors, spring rolls rank in the same phylum category as styrofoam. And it's debatable whether or not the inventor of spring rolls deserves to be waterboarded. But what we know for sure is these dreadfully pointless treats require a dipping sauce in order to have what's called taste. For that, we'll be using a peanut dipping sauce. But because Loser Martin gets his precious little feelings hurt from peanuts, we'll be taking out the flavorful peanuts and adding in bland garbanzo beans, also known as the poor man's almond. Just add 1 cup of garbanzo beans, 2 tablespoons of hoisin sauce, 1 tablespoon of rice vinegar, and 1/4 cup of water into your Vitamix or any other dramatically overpriced blender. Then blend on high until your ears hurt and you're ready to rock and spring roll. Nobody blends as good as I do. Before we go on, recently I sat down with a gluten intolerant woman named Amber who's yet to die from her condition to learn more about gluten intolerance and what it's like to live being contaminated by such a disgusting condition. Let's take a look at the footage. Hi, Amber. How are you?
Good. Thanks for having me on.
Ugh. What's life like living with such an invasive, contagious condition?
Well, I don't think gluten intolerance is contagious. I live a really normal life. I basically just make gluten-free choices when I'm out eating.
Finding the origins of your genetic deformity, is it because your mother drank excessively when she was pregnant with you?
No.
By your looks, I can see you're still bearing the cross of fetal alcohol syndrome. So we can chalk up your facial irregularities to your mother's drinking habits, but apparently not your ability to get ferociously ill eating the most common food on the planet. What do you think it's from?
I think it's genetic.
Yes, So gluten intolerance is like the food allergy equivalent of genital herpes that you got from your family.
Is that a question?
Absolutely not. Do you get offended when people use the word retarded?
No.
Good for you. What happens when you eat gluten?
I get really sick, I have terrible stomach pain, and diarrhea for like 3 days straight.
How old do you think you'll be when you're fully potty trained? What do you think is worse to have? Gluten intolerance, albinoism, or AIDS?
Probably AIDS.
Nope, gluten intolerance. Most people would rather have AIDS. Were your parents cousins?
And we're done here.
Wow, that was informative and inspiring. Thank you, Diseased Amber. And now it's time to get started on our spiralized zucchini noodle lasagna. Zucchini noodles are like the yogis of the food world. They're pointlessly flexible, they try to be interesting, but they're still boring. Because I don't have a spiralizer and I can't be bothered going out to get one, I'm gonna cut our zucchini into straight lines. Now, most people can't believe this, but the shape of a boring food doesn't change its boring flavor. It's like what I always tell my wife. It doesn't matter what you're talking about. It's not gonna be interesting because you have a boring personality. Now we'll add 1 jar of organic tomato sauce, or as the descendants of convicts in Australia like to call it, tomato sauce. The key to a nice even spread of your tomato sauce is to flex your abs as you go with just a slight twist of your torso to get a better show of your oblique line. For the pasta sheets, you'll want to forgo traditional wheat and use brown rice pasta sheets, as it'll be more conducive for helping your intolerant friends not shit themselves all over your nice kitchen floor. And our last step before we put this bad boy in the oven is to add a generous layer of shredded mozzarella cheese on top.
I can't eat cheese. My dairy intolerance.
Jesus, Martin, are you trying to take all the fun out of my life? You're selfish. You are a selfish loser.
Sorry.
No, you're not. So instead of delicious mozzarella on top, we'll be substituting in shredded white potato on your lasagna because it's white like mozzarella, but mostly because loser Martin doesn't want anyone to enjoy this meal. Now we just need to throw this in the oven at 350 degrees Fahrenheit for 40 minutes. And presto, turned out so good. Now, presentation can be everything. Food intolerant people are used to eating out of a bowl on the floor like they deserve. But to give them a unique culinary experience they'll remember, I recommend serving the lasagna on a plate. Now we're ready to dig in.
Wow, I've never tasted anything so good before.
Oh, that's probably just from the peanut dipping sauce. Remember how I substituted in garbanzo beans for the peanuts in the peanut dipping sauce? Well, I didn't do that because I like the taste of peanuts better.
EpiPen.
Oh, let me help you with that. Whoa! That feels amazing! Well, I think we clearly succeeded in today's culinary challenge of cooking a tolerable meal for a food intolerant person because loser Martin doesn't appear to be in any intestinal discomfort. And I hope you have just as much fun making this meal for your food intolerant friends and family that burden you with their existence as I did. And I'll see you next time on Cooking with a Narcissist. Thank you for watching. Please be sure to subscribe to my channel and turn on the notifications so you can be annoyed each time I post a new video. And also check out my website for my live comedy show tour schedule, linked in the description below.